Welcome back to Lone Star Roads, brought to you by the Credit Union of Texas. I am sitting right here with my partner, Mr. Stuart Mann from Statesboro Review. Hey, buddy.
How you doing?
How are you, man?
Good to see you.
Thanks for making the trip.
Absolutely.
You've been a busy boy, man.
Always. We're always busy, man. You know, it's in this business, you can't complain about being too busy. You know, like that's
a good thing.
The musician that complains about being too busy is the one that doesn't need.
That's bad news when
doesn't do it for a living, I guess.
When nobody wants to put your name on the marquee, that's
right,
some things get kind of slow.
Right.
So I tell you, I got the copy of the CD right here, Ramble on Privilege Creek. Not only is it a good-looking record, that's cool artwork. Where'd y'all come up with that?
You know, we had a guy. This is actually a really funny story. My brother and I were brainstorming on what to do for the artwork, and we thought about doing something real simple and everything. But I'd never done anything with actual artwork. You know, somebody. You know, something hand-drawn on the cover, and I thought, you know, that'd be kind of cool to do something like that. And so I got in touch with this guy who knew a guy, and he said, yeah, you know, okay, this guy, you should check him out. His name's Bill Perkins, great artist. And so I got on, you know, I Googled him. I said, Bill Perkins, and all this stuff popped up, and it was amazing. And so I in my mind, based on what I saw Bill Perkins, you know, off his work, I thought, okay, you know, maybe he can do something like this. So I contact Bill Perkins, and he's like, yeah, you know, what do you think? And I said, well, man, I Googled your name, and all that stuff you did is fantastic. And he goes, well, actually, I'm Billy Perkins. And he goes, all that stuff's really good. I don't know if I can pull that off. And I went, man.
I know stick figures.
Yeah. But Billy Perkins wound up being able to draw, and so he did the front. And,
that's really nice, man.
Turned out really cool. We did the reason why it's called Ramble on Privilege Creek is because Garrett and I's grandmother lives on Privilege Creek up near Pipe Creek, like Tarpley, Bandera area. Right. And she lives on Privilege Creek, and we thought, since this is our first record together, that that it would be cool to incorporate some, you know, pay homage to our family a little bit.
Sure, man. So. Well, what's important always, as cool as the outside is what's on the inside. True. And you guys were nice enough to let me review the record before it came out and put the review in Best in Texas magazine. Thank you for asking me to do that, because it's quite the honor. But more importantly, thank you for this record. What a great record that is, man. I am absolutely in love with it. I mean, it's got a unique sound. The songwriting is great. I mean, there's just a whole freshness to it. And I'm assuming that was probably your idea behind the whole thing. Well, we, you know, like I said, you know, being that it's Garrett and I's first record together, we want to do something different. You know, the last record that we did, which was the first Statesboro Review record, was a little more blues rock, I guess you could say. And, you know, I figured that if we're going to be playing in this scene, you know, I mean, I never want to get stagnant as an artist. You know, I've never wanted to do that type of thing where I, you know, follow a certain path and I just make record after record that all sound the same. And so we decided, you know, we thought, okay, well, let's go in a different direction a little bit and use more instrumentation. And so that's what this record, you know, we brought in. I mean, we did, you know, not only did from a different songwriting standpoint. I mean, I kind of went back to my roots as far as, you know, I grew up listening to country. That was my first love of music was country music, and I kind of strayed away from that a little bit on the last record because I thought that maybe that's the direction that my career should take. And, you know, Garrett's more of a rocker too, and so it was interesting for both of us to kind of take this more acoustic, you know, rootsy-based approach on it. And some of the songs, you know, we were in the studio and we're like, yeah, you know, let's try doing it, the whole song with acoustic guitar, and they just didn't work out. Some of them doesn't translate, but some of them, they felt right at home in that area, you know. There's some unique bings and bangs in there that just really sound cool, man. We had pedal steel, lap steel, dobro, mandolin, fiddle, I mean, harmonica, obviously, everything you can think of, and broom. That was my personal favorite. Was I can consider myself a broom player now, which is if people are forming bands with broom players in it, then my dream is still alive. I can play the fire out of a broom. I can tell you that, Stuart. Hey, I don't know how much time we got left, but I want to make sure I get the chance to ask you about Buddy Holly. Tell me this story, how this all came about. It was amazing. You know, for most bands anyway, the winter time is kind of a lull as far as our touring schedule goes, and so we had a little bit of time to sit back, and I got an email from an old agent of mine, and he said, hey, you know, they're casting for a Buddy Holly musical down in San Antonio. And I thought, man, I haven't done any theater in years, and haven't even done any acting in 7 or 8 years. And, but I said, you know, what the hell? I grew up loving Buddy Holly. You know, I wasn't crazy familiar with all of his body of work.
And I emailed the guy, never heard back. Thought, okay, they found somebody else, or I didn't have the right look, or whatever.
Right.
So, I did a follow-up. What you're told to do when you're looking for jobs is you follow up with them. Don't wait for them to follow up with you.
Right.
So I contacted him again. And he said, yeah, I'll call you at 8 p.m. tonight. And so he calls me, and he said, can you come in tomorrow morning? And I went, hell no, I'm not ready. I wasn't ready at all. I mean, I hadn't had time to go over the songs or anything. And so he said, okay, what about 2 p.m. tomorrow? And I said, oh, that's what you want. So I went in, did it, and Garrett got to play one of the crickets, one of the guitar players, a composite of Tommy Alsop and Nicky Sullivan,
right,
who were Buddy's guitar players.
Yes. And
the show was one of the greatest experiences of my life. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was like, we'd play music every night, and people, get turned on by what we do, and they clap, and they holler and stuff, but this was like what I could imagine, like the closest thing to like Beatlemania.
Really?
Except obviously the age range was a little different. It wasn't a bunch of like 15-year-olds. It was like 50 to 85 or something.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, I mean, people being excited about your stuff is people. I mean, it brought me to tears a couple of times. Like, I mean, some of these ladies would come up and they'd say, "Oh my God, I lost my husband 30 years ago, and we grew up loving Buddy Holly together, and you took me back to that place." And I was like, "Oh, how do you respond to that?" I mean,
you tell them to buy a Statesboro Review record.
Yeah, right, yeah, exactly.
If you like that, you're going to love this. Here you go, right there. Take that right there.
But it was amazing. I mean, and we're actually doing it again. We're going to do it at the Brontex in New Braunfels in February of next year, just the music. But it was something that kind of really put me back into that mindset of feeling fresh. After a while, like I said, you do the same thing for so long, you get kind of bored to a degree, and putting out a new record and doing something like that really jumps my juices again. So we're ready to move forward and take over the world.
It's a great record, man. Would you play some of it for us?
Absolutely.
Cool. Ramble on Privilege Creek, Statesboro Review. Stuart Mann right here. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks
I appreciate
for having us. Really
when we come back, they're going to play live for us. Sign that table for me if you would there,
yes,
Stuart.
Sir.
You're watching Lone Star Rose TV, brought to you by the Credit Union of Texas. Hang on.